I came home from work exhausted and turned on the light. I screamed in horror. What the hell? The room was in disarray. Bags of snacks were scattered everywhere. In the center of the room were my mother-in-law and her two sisters, who were drooling in their sleep. Oh, you're back. It's quite a nice house. My mother-in-law woke up. Give me a break. What do you think you're doing? I screamed in anguish, and she clapped her hands and smiled at me. We're going to live here from now on. You're going to work hard for us. Then we'll let you stay here. She proclaimed with a breath that reeked of alcohol. Her sisters were smirking with a glass of wine in their hands. It's a little cramped, but we'll manage. It comes with a maid, you know. That's true. By the way, can you make us some snacks? The three of them gulped wine while they crapped up so hard that the entire neighborhood could hear them. I was absolutely stunned when I heard a nonchalant voice coming from the front. Suppressing my anger, I walked toward the door. My husband, who also reeked of alcohol, was taking off his jacket. He had told me he was going to a company function, but it made me angrier in the crazy situation. Honey, your mom is making a terrible joke that she and her sisters are going to live here. Do something. Oh yeah, I think I got a text about that from her. She said they were having a party tonight. Are they still drinking? I was taken aback by his indifferent attitude. Are you serious? What are we going to do about their living expenses and stuff? She said she would pay us rent. You just need to put in a little more effort on housework. Anyway, I'm a little hungry, so can you make me something quickly? He walked into the bedroom to change. I went back to the living room and saw the three of them once again sprawled out on the floor. They had such a dumb sleeping faces. I saw a wine bottle lying on the floor. I couldn't contain my anger and pick it up. I met my husband Peter through work. At the time, I was working in the sales for a food company. He was one of my clients, and we often saw each other. Since we both liked to drink, we hit it off right away. The year after we met, we started going out. We went around places that served good drinks and sometimes made cocktails at home together. Although he was a little insensitive at times, I liked his cheerful and optimistic personality. 2 years later, we got married and bought a house near his mom, Betty. It was spacious for the price, bright, and in a safe neighborhood. We decided on it almost immediately, partly because he was close to his mom. That was the beginning of the mistake. I'm hungry, Dana. Hurry up with the food. Huh? Are you going to stay for dinner again? Watch your tongue. You're so sarcastic. Come on, start cooking. Soon after we moved into our new house, Betty began visiting us almost every day without notice. Because I had changed my work when I got married, I did have more time on my hands than before. I was planning to spend it studying for my certification exam. Betty didn't care about it and kept coming over as she wished. I couldn't neglect my mother-in-law, so I had no choice but to entertain her. In retrospect, no matter how awkward our relationship became, I should have firmly rejected her. Eventually, her sisters Diane and Anita started coming along with her. Oh no, we are out of snacks. You need to stock more. I will open the new tea box. The sisters were both divorced. If they behaved like that all the time, no wonder their husbands ran away. No matter how disagreeable they were still close relatives of Peter. I sucked it up and continued being treated as a maid for his sake. When the stress was getting to the point where I couldn't even manage my daily life, the three sisters went away on a short trip. I thought it was now or never and talked to Peter about them, but he didn't take me seriously at all. My dad just passed away, so she's lonely. Don't be so uptight. But our expenses are going up. If we keep going like this, we'll have to cut into our savings.
You're not good at managing it then. I've gotten a raise and have been putting in more money.
His raise was less than 100. I was too exhausted to argue with him. 3 years had passed. I wondered how long I had to live in hell. I had no idea that I still hadn't seen the core of it. One day, my personal belongings began to disappear. I noticed some accessories, cosmetics, and other small things were missing. I knew that only Betty and her sisters would do such a thing, and started using a lockable drawer. I kept track of everything I didn't want to be taken. Oh my god, why is the lock broken? The things I put inside were gone too. It was absolutely unacceptable behavior, and I questioned them. Of course, all 3 of them pretended to know nothing about it.
Oh no, it must be a thief. That's scary.
I knew it was dangerous to leave the house empty. Why don't we come over more often, Betty?
Indeed.
They spoke among themselves while watching TV and devouring snacks. The snacks and drinks spread out on the table were all prepared by me. I bit my lip and clenched my trembling fist in frustration. One day, when I came home from work, I could hear them laughing so loud, even from the street. I walked into the house, suddenly feeling fatigue in my neck and shoulders. There were boxes piled high in the hallway. What the hell? I walked toward the voices suspiciously and was met with an unbelievable sight. More boxes were placed throughout the living room. Looking inside one of them, they appeared to belong to the 3 sisters. They were drinking wine in the middle of the mess. Noticing my presence, Betty spoke to me in a good mood.
We decided to live here. You're going to work hard for us. Then we'll let you stay in this house.
She declared the unthinkable with a breath that reeked of alcohol. Diane and Anita were smirking with wine glasses in their hands.
It's a little cramped, but we'll manage. It comes with a maid, you know. Can you make us some snacks?
They laughed so loudly that the neighbors might have complained, and then they gulped the wine. I was absolutely stunned when I heard a nonchalant voice coming from the front door. Suppressing my anger, I walked toward it. Peter, who also reeked of alcohol, was taking off his jacket. He had told me he was going to a company function, but it made me angrier in the crazy situation.
Honey, your mom is making a terrible joke that she and her sisters are going to live here. Do something. Oh yeah, I think I got a text about that from her. She said they were having a party tonight. Are they still drinking?
I was taken aback by his indifferent attitude. Are you serious? What are we going to do about their living expenses and stuff?
She said she would pay us rent. You just need to put in a little more effort on housework. Anyway, I'm a little hungry, so can you make me something quickly?
He walked into the bedroom to change. I went back to the living room in despair and saw the 3 of them once again sprawled out on the floor. As I looked at their dumb, sleeping faces, I felt my blood boiling up. To hell with them. I scurried to call my lawyer friend. I had been talking to her about my situation for a while, so she agreed to come and meet me right away. I left the house with a folder of documents that I had hidden in a secret place. My friend was to meet me at the diner near my house. I ordered pasta and ate it with a feeling of rage. When I finished eating, I received a text from someone. I decided to ask her to come over to my house. Soon after, my friend arrived, and we headed to my house together. When we arrived, Peter and the 3 sisters were all huddled in the middle of the living room for some reason. I asked my friend to wait at the door. I looked down at Peter and the others.
You hit Peter, didn't you?
What are you talking about?
Don't play dumb. This is a proof.
Betty helped Peter to get up. His nostrils were stuffed with tissues, and he had a bump on his forehead. He glared at me with a look of sheer pain on his face. Betty pointed a finger at me and shouted, "You did this to him! You better pay him compensation!"
"Damn right! I'm against violence!"
I sighed and slammed the divorce papers from the folder. Then I opened the cupboard and took out the surveillance camera I had hidden. They all looked at me with puzzled expressions. "The truth is on here, so let's all take a look." Since the camera was linked to my phone, I showed it to everyone. I pressed the play button, and the room appeared as it did sometime earlier. We could see Peter coming into the living room in a good mood after changing his clothes. He was walking through the room and seems to be talking to the three sisters, who were already wasted and asleep. The next moment, he tripped on a bottle of wine and fell face down. The sound waked them up from their sleep, and they scurried around him. "You know who caused this, don't you?"
"This means nothing. You should have cleaned up the mess properly."
"Even though it was your mess?"
"It's your job to clean up. It's so shady to plant a camera anyway."
She was adamant to make it my fault in any way. I didn't expect logic from her, but I also didn't think she was so obstinate. I tapped the video I had taken a few days earlier and held it up in front of them again. It was footage of the time my lock was broken. There I found the sisters breaking it and stealing my things. They seemed to realize that it was indeed a serious matter, and their faces began to turn pale. The reason I set it up was that I wanted to know who was stealing my things. I guess thieves exist closer than you think, right, Betty?
Well, that's...
Wait a minute. Stealing is indeed a terrible thing to do, but you must have known from the recording that I was injured. You are also a perpetrator for ignoring it.
His absurd argument made me laugh. How did I end up marrying such a man? I would have loved to go back in time and ask myself. I led my friend into the room and presented the divorce papers in front of his face. I was worried when I saw it, so I came home in a hurry. Even though we are getting a divorce, I wouldn't wish you any harm. Unlike your family, I'm not morally corrupt. I then told them that the house was in my name, that my parents had purchased it, and that I had the documents to prove it. I also told them to pay for cleaning the house and the stolen items. Diane and Anita raised their eyebrows and started yelling at Betty.
"This is not what you promised us."
"That's right. You said I would have an easier life here, so I already moved out of my apartment."
"Are you guys saying it's my fault? It was Diane who brought the wine in the first place."
As the three of them argued, Peter came to me begging. He apologized to me with tears streaming down his face. Just as I was about to say it was too late, the doorbell rang. I shouted toward the door to come in, and the woman appeared.
"Aunt Angela!"
"Hi, Peter. You've been gained so much weight. And why are you looking so pitiful?" She took off her sunglasses and flashed her beautiful smile. I felt the mood in the room changed completely. Betty and her sisters uncomfortably huddled around each other. Aunt Angela was my late father-in-law's older sister. She ran a successful business and was quite well off. When my father-in-law's company went bankrupt, not only did she help him pay off his debts, she helped him until his new company took off. Betty was completely indebted to her for that reason. Diane and Anita went to the same high school as her and were intimidated by her. She kept herself away from family gatherings, which made everyone fear and respect her at the same time whenever she made a rare appearance. Peter had also been afraid of her ever since he was spanked when he was a child. Of course, the spanking wasn't for nothing, but for being mischievous. As for me, I met her through work first. She was a tough businesswoman, but she was also very caring and practical, which I respected.
How can you treat a kind and competent girl in this way? You people should be ashamed of yourselves. Well, No excuses. Everybody sit down right there. Angela began to lecture the four of them. They were complaining to me before she showed up, but they became quiet and obedient. Her lecture went on for about an hour. By the time it was over, Peter couldn't say anything. I then had him sign the divorce papers in front of everyone. He also wrote and signed a letter of promise that he would pay me alimony and the savings he and his family spent. The years of hell finally came to an end. Cheers! I gulped down the icy cold beer. It's the taste of victory. It tastes 100 times better than the beer I usually drink. I'm having a party with some girlfriends in a crowded bar. I can't believe Peter is your ex-husband. I was dumbfounded when you told me. Yeah, well, by the way, thank you for your help. Don't mention it. Just tell me everything. After I filed for divorce, I immediately sold the house. When Betty and her sisters lost a place to live, they went to work for Angela in the warehouse. They are assigned to a particularly tough section and are struggling every day. Angela advanced the payment for the cleaning and the stolen items for them. They are forced to work hard until they pay her back. Peter's performance at work dropped dramatically and was demoted. One of my friends I'm having a drink with tonight is his colleague. She's also my classmate from high school. We bumped into each other at the station and talked for the first time in a while. When I told her about the divorce, she spread a rumor about him in the office. As a result, his credibility flew out the window. Even though the work environment was unpleasant for him, he thinks it's still better than working for Angela. He still goes to work every day. Angela has assured me that if he falls behind on the alimony payment, he would be forced to work for her immediately. Seriously, why did I marry that guy? I know. Well, it's a party for broken hearts today. Let's all have a good laugh together. I'm in. Our laughter is mixed into the hustle and bustle of the bar and disappeared into the night.